All right, everybody, welcome to this week's Core Belt Umpires Association Zoom Lunch Clinic. Today, we're doing video review. These are some videos that we've collected over the years and got a lot of interesting stuff here. So can everybody see YouTube right now? Looks like it.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So Connor, this one's all you, buddy. Let you talk through it.
So we have R1, R2. We have a bunt play. We have a runner running illegally all the way up the line. So in this, it's important as our plate umpire that we are in a position to officiate that play back into home after the throw to first. So number one, I think we're a little too far up the line here. As a plate umpire, we need to gain ground to help with that play. But how we gain ground needs to leave us open for that throw coming back to the plate. Because right now, if R2 decides to round hard because that play is up or he misreads that ball is not being caught, and we have a play coming back into the plate, we need to be in position to umpire that. So personally, I am going to be first baseline extended, probably standing in the right-handed batter's box for this play. Where I'm maybe straddling this little corner here of where the catcher's box meets the batter's box line at the back edge there.
Right here.
We have to officiate this play in its entirety. This is kind of a difficult play for me as a first base umpire to umpire for runners line interference because of where our runners are at. I'm in a different position than I normally would be on a bunt with nobody on. And while I can have a look at this, the play kind of blew up on me, so to speak, because I've got a weird throw that takes the first baseman up off the bag. So now I have to shift my focus from where the runner is. So I know the runner's illegal on this play. What I don't know is what else happened, because I have to shift and make a read step on a play at first base. This ultimately ended up going to replay. They decided, since I'm not the crew chief and the non-calling umpire decided that the batter runner did not interfere with the throw coming from the plate area towards first base, and that the throw was offline to begin with. So it wasn't a true throw, so to speak, which we don't really have in NCAA. That's more of a pro rule mechanic. But they decided that the first baseman was up off the bag when the runner touched it. Therefore, the runner's safe, and everybody stays where they're at. Looking at this play, I feel like we should have had a runner's line interference because runners line running illegally with a throw coming from the plate area, which is defined as the back edge of them. If you draw a box, if you fill in a box from the back edge of the mound towards each line, each foul line, that's your plate area, so to speak. And that's how it's diagrammed in the rulebook and mechanics manual. So if a throw coming from there, runner running illegally because of where the runner's at, the throw was high, in my opinion, and we should have had a runner's line interference, which results in sending all the runners back and the batter runner being out.
That's the box you're talking about, Connor?
Yeah, roughly.
I'm working on my telestrator abilities. Any questions on this play as to why this should be runner's lane interference? And this should be runner's lane interference at high school and Legion level. Hearing none. All right, I am going to back out of this.
Runner's interference, runners go back.
Correct.
Time of pitch.
Otherwise, there's really no penalty for it. So, yeah.
All right, and we'll go. We'll do some mechanic stuff here. One thing that I guess I've seen a lot of, or where we as umpires can improve on is going out on trouble balls. So there's 4 reasons to go out on trouble ball. Ball that'll be caught at or below the waist, fly ball with 2 fielders converging on it, a ball that threatens the foul line, or a ball that threatens the fence. This, from my recollection, I haven't seen this play for a while, but my recollection of this play is that we probably did not need to go out, but this day it was 45 degrees at first pitch, and it was blowing pole to pole at 30 miles an hour gust into 45. So my partner and I pre-gamed, we're going to be super aggressive on going out. So I put that disclaimer in here that we would pre-game being super aggressive on this. But I'll just start it up here. There we go. You got a fly ball. We got two fielders converging. Partner immediately goes out. So as the plate umpire, I'm responsible for the touch at first and the play into second. We had no runners on. So as soon as partner comes back in, I acknowledge that he is there. And basically what I said was, hey, infield's yours, which allows me to get back to home plate. Connor, any thoughts on this?
Yeah. So when we pause, read, react when we go out as U1, we need to pause, read, react. A lot of times we forget the pause and read part and just react to the ball. A lot of pause, read, react comes down to pre-pitch, knowing where your outfielders are, because you'll know if that ball is going to be caught easily, or if it's going to be in the gap, or if it's going to be towards a foul line. And how we use that coupled with the initial flight of the baseball off the bat. And then we immediately go to our fielder that we think is going to catch it. And then, so we drop step, gate step, open up to that play. And then our going out doesn't have to be 45 steps to get 90 feet down the line, right? We need to gain ground to the open glove side of that play, because that allows us to see the ball skip into the glove. It's a diving catch. It allows us to see the basket catch if we get to the open, over the shoulder catch by the center fielder going to the fence. If we are going to get an angle to the open glove side, that doesn't mean we run right at the fielder. That means we run where we need to go to see an angle. So on this play, I'm probably running straight down the line because I'm getting the angle from that center fielder making a dead sprint to make that catch. Now, I may get 3 or 4 steps on this play. I'm probably going to get, if I truly pause, read, and then react, I'm probably getting no more than 4 steps into the outfield on this play. Now, if something were to happen that would necessitate me to delay my opinion, so let's say that center fielder gloves it and goes to the ground, I pause, read, react. I take my steps, I get set, I see the ball into the glove cleanly, and I'm from a set position, and now he tumbles to the ground. Now I go further, and that's where I gain that distance to make sure he maintains possession of the baseball. Because a lot of times we just, balls hit and we go. Our plate umpire should always be working towards the baseball in 2-person. So we should be moving out towards right center field, anticipating our base umpire to go out on that, because we don't have fair foul responsibility in this play. We don't have pull foot swipe tag responsibility in this play because it's a fly ball. So we're going to go towards that baseball, and we're going to read our partner once the ball's hit. So we're going to go baseball, partner, and then decide what we do. Because a lot of times we just immediately go, and our play umpire's like, oh crap, I got to go. Jake does a good job recognizing this is not going to be a play back into first base. And he just runs straight over the top of the mound. Don't fall. But we don't need to necessarily run. We don't need to run all the way to first base and take a right angle to second. We need to cheat on this play, because if that ball's down, where's he going to end up at? At minimum, third. So we can cheat and beat the system and beat it ahead, while knowing that we're going to keep eyes on the runner to make sure it's not somebody like me trying to leg out a double in the situation. And I may be like, I can't make it. I'm going back to first. but we need to be ready for that play at second base. Does that make sense to everybody? Has anybody ever not heard that broken down like that?
Connor, one thing that I had a problem with just this last weekend, the JUCO game, was he went out and he kind of half-assed it as he went out. So I'm trucking to second base, and we had a drop ball, and the guy's going to third base. Okay, so not knowing if he's going to get to the home plate. So the field umpire, he's coming to second base where I'm already at.
Yep.
So,
So,
we had talked about this in pregame as well, but is it his job to get to home plate? That's what or is it my job to get back to home plate?
So once you're out, you're out. The plate umpire has all four bases.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that darn guy that I worked with, he kind of went, like I said, half-assed, and he kind of got barely into the grass. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden he's trying to start trotting out further. So it's really, really a tough call. I mean, everything worked out okay, but I think it could have went sideways real quick.
For sure. So here's what I will tell you in that situation. Not necessarily when you see their back, but once they start moving towards the outfield, that's your key of they're out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I may gate step and open up and pause, and you may see my back. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to read this a little longer. Because I may not know initially. I may not be able to get a clean read off my first look. But use your gut instinct of, okay, if you think they're going out, go.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see them come back in a second, I'm here, which is why we need to have partner awareness. I think I talked about that last week. I don't know if no idea who was here, or that's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I never worked with a guy before, so I was a little stuck,
for sure.
wondering,
For sure. So once I see you getting round towards the outfield, I'm considering you out, and I'm going.
Yeah.
But as the plate umpire, I'm keeping everything in view. And when I see my partner coming, Jerry, I'm here. And I'm going to yell at you, because odds are at that moment, I'm probably not umpiring any certain aspect of that play until the ball's coming in. Right. So hopefully he was coming back towards second base before the throw was made. Maybe not. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm keeping everything in my view, and I'm knowing where my partner's at, because especially if somebody I've never worked with, I see them coming back, I'm here, and just hold up your hand and just say, Jerry, I'm here, and yell at him. And that way he knows not to come back and make a call on that play. That makes sense? Yep. But it's
just like calling a fly ball. You just let everybody know where you're at,
Yeah, for sure.
And who's in charge of what. Yep. There wasn't much communication on that verbally. So yeah, it was kind of a got the heart going a little bit type of play.
It can get dicey, that's for sure.
Yep.
Thank you, Connor. I got that play pickup for this exact one that we're talking about.
Mike, did you have a question? I wasn't sure if you just popped your. Okay.
Nope. Jake, you said that you waited for Connor to get back in before you obviously turned your back and walked towards home. You did not call time, I imagine, then, did you? Because Connor was watching then. So you just waited till he could see and then went back to behind the plate?
Yes.
Essentially, yes. There was no reason to call time.
Nope. That's what I thought. It was just, I think a lot of guys at the levels I am would just call time and walk back. But you waited till Connor could see everything, and then you turn your back and then return.
Here's what I will say about calling time. At the lower levels, we call time far too much. We are always better off leaving the ball in play, because then we don't forget to put the ball back in play. And we're not granting time for some reason that by rule we're not permitted to. All right, we'll go to the next play. I was watching this game over the weekend. So again, we had nobody on base. Base umpires pretty much on the turf of the grass here. And we have a clean hit to the outfield, and we're just going to kind of talk about mechanics as far as a clean double, which is what we call this. So two fielders converging, but we read clean double. Comes in, pivots. The base umpire clearly watches the touch, and he follows the runner and takes him back into the base. Some people may want to know why we're pivoting, and I'm going to try to stop it here. When we're pivoting here, well, the reason that we're pivoting here is because we know it's a clean double, as opposed to one of these where it could be a stretch double. If it's a stretch double, we want to pivot somewhere closer to the cut of the grass in case we have to come back hard to first base. And this base umpire just takes the runner. It could be a stretch triple, but he comes back into the base, and the base umpire just takes him right back in. As far as what the plate umpire is supposed to do, not much in this situation. Base umpire is going to have the runner all the way to third. So really the plate umpire can kind of get in, have an opinion on, catch, no catch type stuff. Watch for obstruction on the backside. But that's about it in this situation. Anything else, Connor?
Yeah, so two things. Number one, I'd like to see the plate umpire work a little bit more towards the baseball. I don't know exactly where this was. Was this right field or like right center?
This is right center.
Right center. Okay.
Yeah.
Knowing the field, I know I don't know far right center, but Northwestern's field does have that overlap fence out there.
You're at BC.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
it was a site flip.
Okay, cool. But I'd like to see you get a little bit more ground towards the baseball, simply because weird things happen out there, and you can always circle back to home plate. But simply because that ball bounces over, that ball rolls under. If we're working towards that, we're in a little bit better position to umpire that play. Whereas we just move up the line, there's really no reason for us to go to third base on this play, because we don't have any responsibilities there, because our base umpire goes in, right, and pivots. Go ahead.
If I'm the plate umpire in this situation, and I was just watching this back, where I draw the arrow and where the arrow ends up, that's about where I would want to be standing at, because I'm gaining ground towards the baseball, as Connor's saying. I'm in a position where I can have an opinion on anything that goes on at first base. That's not my responsibility, but I should still have an opinion on it. And then you can retreat to home if necessary.
Yeah, perfect. And the second thing I would tell you is that the location of where I pivot as a base umpire depends on how I line up pre-pitch. So the deeper I am, the easier it is to get me to, like, we don't necessarily need to pivot in a certain location other than in the infield, right? But I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get up in front of the runner and not press pass as he's rounding the base. I need to be inside the base path before, or far enough away from the base that there's no chance he's going to run into me. So I may take a flatter angle towards second base to pivot, or I may take a sharper angle depending on where I'm at in relation to how deep I am from first base as a starting point. I think this is a right-handed batter. So probably your first base is probably playing normal depth, probably 10, 12 feet behind the base. So I'm probably 15 to 20 feet behind the first baseman. So I can probably, it doesn't really matter at that point, right? I'm fast enough I can get in where I need to get in. But so we factor that in with where the ball's hit, where I think the runner's going to end up. So if I know I got to go to third base, I'm probably going to take a little bit flatter angle to get in, so I'm out ahead of that play, and then I can work back into second base. But it's all dependent on pre-pitch location, how fast the batter runner is, and where I think the runner is going to end up based on where that ball's hit, because I need to be in position to officiate that play. And if I got to get to third, I don't necessarily need, if I know he's for sure going to third, I don't necessarily need to be in the cut at second base. I can work across the middle of the infield and get ahead of that play and be in position waiting on the ball coming in. Whereas in this, it's a double. Okay, now I get into the working area and I pause because they got to that ball fairly quick and there's going to be a play back into second base.
Any questions on this?
Yeah, as play dump. So with nobody on base, farther out in front of the plate. But if but I've heard so often this spring now, stay first base extended. That's more if I've got somebody on base, I may need to have a different reaction.
First base extended if the ball stays in the infield.
Okay.
If the ball goes to the outfield, we need to get out in front of the plate because we may have to help umpire that play a little bit more.
Okay.
We're first base extended on balls that stay in the infield because we have pull foot, swipe tag, minors and interference type stuff.
Beautiful.
And obviously on a ball to the outfield with runners on, we have responsibility either third or home, depending on location runners and where the ball's hit and what type of ball we have hit. So that's what I would say.
Looking at who all is here right now, and Connor, I know you were on the field last week. Let's talk. We had a weird bunt. I had a weird bunt play a couple weeks ago. Where's it at?
C8. Sam's Augie bunt.
Yeah, that would be it. So if you were here last week, we kind of talked about this, but I realized that it looks like there's not a lot of same faces that we have today. So we'll cover this one again. The two things that I think need to be taken away from this is there's a lot going on in this play. And so being able to sit and say, I have this, 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 and this, these are my responsibilities. That's very important. And then there's one thing that I think from a mechanical standpoint I could have done better on. And I'll kind of address that as we go on. And Connor, feel free to chime in on this one because I know you've seen this video, but we haven't really discussed it in length.
Yeah, Brandon sent it to me.
Yeah, outside of our normal way we do video review. So runners on the corners, one out. We're gonna have a safety squeeze here. So I was not ready on this
I
one.
have not seen this one. I saw the
You
other
haven't?
one.
Okay.
I saw the other one in the
This
series.
is a safety squeeze, not the suicide squeeze. So we got the squeeze here. So immediately we have batter, catcher crossing paths. Okay, so we have a potential for interference and obstruction. Then we still have fair foul. So immediately I come up, I got the safe signal. I had nothing. The batter did not impede the catcher's ability to play the ball. The catcher did not impede the batter runner's ability to run to first base. We have nothing. I got fair ball. I don't really feel like a signal here is necessary. I mean, we're 8 to 10 feet into fair territory, so it's not necessarily required to have a signal here. Now we got a guy. He's running. We have to play it first. So I am still watching for runner's lane interference here, which we had a good throw, and we had in my judgment we didn't have a violation of the rule. I also took a peek at my runner on third to see if he was coming home, because had he come home, and this is one of the areas that we were talking with, or I was talking with some of the guys that I use as mentors, and they said that they would rather have me kind of somewhere in this area here where I'm still first base line extended. I can still rule on the runner's lane, but I'm not standing relatively on top of home plate. So in this play, we had potential obstruction, potential interference. We had fair foul, runner's lane interference, and we could have had a possible play at home. So lots of stuff just on one singular play that we can have. Connor, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I would umpire this play a little bit differently than what you just stated, Jake, just because I don't know. I just think it gives me a better look, right? So a couple things to think of here. Number one, split the split the infield into thirds on bunt, fair, foul signals. So if it's anything outside of like the mound area towards the foul lines, I'm going to give a signal, simply because it's just icing on the cake, right? Boom, that's fair. No question, no nothing. Like I realize he's kind of somewhat in the middle third, but I think he started probably a little bit further out. And it's something that I never used to do until I went to a clinic this fall and they told me, yep, a play similar to this, like a bunt in a similar area, still needs a point, right? Good job on the nothing signal at the plate. Because there's a lot of signal intensive stuff on this play, I might simply use a verbal depending on how it all unfolds and the speed at which it unfolds. Gives us a lot to this, right? All at once. I may just go, that's clean, point the ball fair. Everybody hears me, coaches hear me because they're in the dugouts. Catcher, runner both hear me, right? And they continue to make their play. Now, the one thing I might do differently is I might say point of plate a little bit longer and be probably in that catcher's box area, not too far from where you're at. Simply to point that ball fair. And it doesn't have to be the longest. Boom, 2001. Okay, now I can lean, I can take a step. If that runner's not coming home, and I can be on the plate for that runner's line interference, or back first baseline extended for that runner's line interference. But the beautiful thing about the runner's lane is it's painted. I know exactly, I can tell where his feet are at from not on the line. And that leaves me in a little bit better position for that play at the plate coming back if the throw comes back to home. Odds are, and I think this field's turf now.
It is.
Yeah, it's all turf. So, but the lines are painted. I can tell where his feet are at, and if he's stepping on the line the entire way or not, even on turf. Now, I think you did a good job with this play. I think you umpired it to what you needed to. Just a couple of tweaks I would make personally, because if I'm point of plate and I can just look down the line without having to be line extended, I'm in better position for that runner coming home if he decides to break late. Like if he decides, okay, pitcher's going to first, I'm going, like that delayed, right? Because I don't even think that, like, the pitcher never looks at the runner on third.
Mhm.
So he never looks him back. So he hangs out there and then makes a break for it once he commits to make that throw. I'm boom, 2 steps. Third baseline extended for that tag. That's right, tag coming back in on the throw from first. That's what I've got.
Any questions? Do a steal play. Just kind of hitting a lot of different stuff here. R1, top of third. And this is what I would call and categorize as an atypical steal, because we had the ball, really gets away from the catcher. And so the catcher makes a great play and a great block to have an opportunity here. So we got a high throw that takes the fielder into the air. Our base umpire is in a pretty good spot to see this. And I thought we had, really good use of eyes, good timing on this. Connor, what?
Pause right there. Pause right here. Okay. So if we look at where our position is for our base umpire, if I'm going to draw a line at the point of the plate, I'm going to be here or here, which leaves me in a position to be roughly here. Oops, apparently I have no idea how to draw this using annotations. I'm going to be here. Back up 2 times here. All right. One more time. Boom. So I want to be tighter to the mound or in 2-person and closer to second base. he ends up being in a really good spot because of where is on this particular play. But if that throw is at the bag, he's going to be looking at A and E, which is absolutely nothing, right? Because that throws high, and Jake play through just a little bit and stop it like right there. Because that throw is high and off the base, that runner is going to probably slide inside if he's smart and if he realizes that throws off, if he's looking at the fielder before he slides. And he can get that read step to the base path to look for that tag, because now it's no longer a swipe tag. Now it's a simple tag play, right? But I want to be a little bit tighter. I'm going to gate step open. This takes me out of like how many balls do you see get hit hard right at the second baseman versus how many see hit hard right through here, right? You want to be in your safety zone, similar to behind the plate being in the slot. You want to be just off the edge of that mound. And I want to be tighter because it gives me a wider angle on all plays.
So
Obviously, the throw is not a true throw. Make a read step, get in position to make a signal on the call, and sell it. But
so
I think the initial starting position is a little too wide.
So, and Connor, I had a conversation with this umpire, because he had asked for, he had to check in and I was just working on some other stuff, watching this, and I had seen this. And so I had commented to him, I said, I think you're a little wide. And what he had said is that the fielder had asked him to slide over, and the conversation I think that we had, I think it was you that said this 2 weeks ago. We can go, one thing we can do is we can gain distance towards the mound, or like towards home, I should say, not towards the mound. But if you gain some distance towards home, you're going to create a little bit more of a viewing window for this fielder. I totally understand why we would move just based on how the defense was set up pre-pitch. But I think that, we could be in a slightly better position pre-pitch, but based on what happened with the play, we got to where we needed to get to and did a really good job officiating this play.
Yeah. When players ask me to move left or right, I usually give them about a half a step. And I just tell them that's all I got. I can go up or back and then let them see which, they might say, okay, take a step forward and then, or backwards, and I can adjust that way. But I don't want to go too much outside of my area, because in most baseball, most of our throws are going to be somewhere near the base. And I want to be able to officiate, and it's going to hurt me most, which is not this particular play. That's my 2 cents.
Any questions or thoughts on this? Let's do
Thayer's weird one. It's a good title. I want to see what that one is.
you know which one this is. This is that one that.
Can you pause it real quick? I can delete all my stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is the one that literally when they made that rule change, you literally looked at me. You're like, this is the play that we got the rule change for.
Is this am I on this? Am I first?
You are.
This is my forced by side roll. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the weird one. I think it is.
Yeah. So
are you at first? Or are you on the plate? Because
I'm at first.
Okay, so it looks.
I'm at first. That guy's too short to be me. That's there. All right. So pause it. Okay. So forced by side rule. Obviously, in high school, it's a little bit differently than our Legion and amateur baseball rule. A little bit different. It's close to our college rule, but it's a little bit different. So high school, slide in the direct line into the base between first and second, slide away from the fielder, give yourself up. Those are our 3 options, right? Pop-up slides are illegal, but we can slide through the base provided we maintain contact, correct? For high school?
No, high school,
High
you're
school,
not
you can't
protected
slide
by
over.
base.
You're not
You
protected over.
cannot
That's right.
overslide, you cannot pop
That's
out
right.
slide.
That's right. You can't overslide. I was thinking you could overslide as long as you maintain contact. So here we have a fielder who we have a slow ground ball to the shortstop, and the shortstop, I don't remember if he makes a flip or he takes it on his own, but play it out a little bit. Yeah, he flips it, and we have a runner that goes in standing up, and we have a throw to first base. So can you go back to about the time the throw is made? Or okay, so and I can't tell because this field is so dead right now that I can't tell between the grass line and the dirt. But we need to, as a base umpire, we're in decent position because we still have the play at second base in the 2-person system, correct? Or sorry, second play at first base. So we are going to umpire the entirety of this play. And on the throw, so we should see the catch, pivot, leave our head there to make sure we have a clean catch, clean release. And then on the throw, we should release to first base. So we should have our body open towards first base or open towards right field, and be ready to just turn our head. Now, as a plate umpire, we need to, oops. So, as a plate umpire in the 2-person system, we should be up here somewhere because this allows us an angle on that play at second base. Now, they changed this rule this year at the NCAA level, but about 2 weeks before or a week before this game, a very, very similar play happened at the Division I level where the runner goes in standing up on a slow hit ball. He's trying to beat the throw. This is forced by side rule because we didn't do any of the requirements that are required by rule. We didn't peel off. We didn't slide away from the fielder. We didn't slide a direct line between first and second. So in a 2-person system, our plate umpire has to stay with this action and come get this if our second base or if our base umpire does not. In a 3-person system, talking with people, I probably should have come and gotten this. I kind of have expected to, like I saw it because I'm following the baseball still. And I had to throw and I was like, okay, he's going to get that. He's going to get that. He didn't. And I was hoping the coach was going to come out to ask us to get together on it. But I realized that I probably could have. I think this is Sunday, so I'm the crew chief. So I probably could have gotten us together and said, hey, we misapplied a rule here. But it's really important that we tag team this in 2-person because our plate umpire has nothing else. I mean, really, we can umpire the rest of that play, then snap our head to the base for a pull foot swipe tag. But we need to get in position to help on this play. In 3-person, our plate umpire is not really leaving the line because we have an umpire who can stay with the play at second base.
Any questions on that? It's 12:46. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you're saying, Connor, with two man, the plate ump would follow your line between first and the pitcher's mound? Is that what I heard you say?
Correct.
Kind of cover that. So what happens on a potential play at third then? You know, if something were to develop,
Yeah.
that's what you're in a position.
So as the plate umpire, you do not have responsibility for third base in 2-person system if the ball does not leave the infield. The ball stays in the infield. The base umpire has responsibility for plays at all bases because the plate umpire has responsibility for overthrows staying in the field of play. So if there's a play at third, that's the base umpire's responsibility. And we just have to get back to our play at the plate.
Brad, I'm gonna frame it this way, okay? Because this is the plate umpire taking any play at third is a very old mechanic, and most mechanic books have gone away from this. we always talk about, or, you know, we always need to be thinking about what can go wrong here. And if I'm working a game and we have, you know, this play come up, we got forced play slide, number one. We got potential interference, though not likely. But we also have pulled foot and swipe tag. I would rather be in a position to get pulled foot, swipe tag, and officiate around first base than be in a position to make a call on a play at third. The base umpire is in a decent position to make this call at first. So we're just going to ignore the fact that there's Connor standing at first base right now. We'll talk about this in the two-person context. What the base umpire is going to do is they're going to be chest to baseball to F3 at first. And so they're going to go either safe or out, whatever they have. And assuming that we're judging R1 safe, if they're chest to baseball, now they can just read what the fielder is doing. And so if a fielder goes and makes a throw across the diamond, the base umpire can just take a drop step or two and turn around. And while we don't have, you know, we're not great on, you know, distance, you know, in proximity to the base, we're in a really good angle to take it. And so it's one of those situations where we're gonna sacrifice distance in favor of an angle. And we want to be able to make sure that we have hold foot and swipe tag coverage here. That's why we send the plate umpire up to help with that. Does that make sense?
So the ball stays in the infield. Who has responsibility for home plate if we use the old mechanic of the plate umpire going to third? It would be the base umpire, correct?
The base ump should be swinging
Yes.
down, right?
So you're telling me that the average umpire can get from this position to this position before we have a plate to plate?
Right. It never happens.
Exactly. So doesn't it make more sense for the base umpire to just move to where they would be in for position up on a steal of third and have the same look instead of home plate covered?
Yeah, this coverage makes a lot more sense. It really.
And that's why they went that way. And I feel like if we talk through what can hurt you versus what makes sense, it makes a lot more. It makes people understand why we do it that way now instead of the way we've always done it. Because there's no way. I mean, we have 300 umpires. There might be 12 that can make it from here to there before a 18-year-old kid does. So, officiate what, you know, be in position for the most likely play to occur, and then get the angle over distance on the next play, and make sure that home is covered because home is where it really matters.
Great question. Let's see here. We can talk. You know what? We'll just wrap it for today. I think we went through 5 or 6 videos. I hope this was super informative here. I'm gonna, as we always do, I'm gonna stop the recording and then we can have a little bit of a conversation after. Thanks guys for joining us today. I'm gonna stop the recording right now.